Hello everyone. Today I want to share with you a famous ghost story from Japan, the legend of the Okiku Doll. This doll is really strange. It is said to be haunted and its hair keeps growing. But before we dive into the spooky part, let's first look at this phenomenon from a scientific perspective. Why does this doll's hair grow? Some scientists and researchers believe that the growing hair of the Okiku doll might be related to the materials used, the environment it is kept in, and people's psychological influences. First of all, the doll's hair was likely originally human hair. In old Japan, it was common to use real human hair for dolls to make them look more lifelike and meaningful. Over time, this real hair might expand or stretch due to changes in humidity, especially in places with high moisture levels. The natural curls in the hair could gradually straighten out, making it appear to grow longer. In addition, the doll may have been moved and repositioned many times, which could also make the hair seem longer. Some people even believe that the miracle of the growing hair might be a result of collective psychological suggestion. When a story is told over and over, people tend to believe it, and they may convince themselves that the doll's hair is truly growing. The story begins in 1918. Back then, a little girl named Kikuko lived in an ordinary family. Her older brother went on a trip to Sapporo and brought back a special gift for her, a beautiful doll dressed in a red kimono with small hairpins in its hair and a gentle smile on its face. Kikuko fell in love with the doll instantly and named it Okiku. She took the doll everywhere with her and treated it like her best friend. But happy days didn't last long. Kikuko suddenly became seriously ill, and even the doctors couldn't help her. Her family could only watch helplessly as her condition got worse day by day. Eventually, during a cold winter, Kikuko passed away. Her death left the whole family in deep sorrow. To remember her, they placed her favorite doll at her shrine, hoping that in a way Kikuko would always be with them. As time went by, the doll became a symbol of the family's love and longing for Kikuko. They took care of the doll as if it were a real child, cleaning its clothes and putting it in Kikuko's favorite spot. But soon they noticed something incredible. The doll's hair seemed to be growing. At first, the family thought it was just their imagination. But as time passed, the doll's hair grew longer and longer. What was once a short hairstyle now reached down to the doll's shoulders, and it looked exactly like Kikuko's hair when she was alive, black and shiny. Kikuko's mother felt both surprised and scared, but deep inside, she believed that it was Kikuko's spirit attached to the doll, still staying with the family. To not disturb Kikuko's peace, they placed the doll in the family's home altar and prayed for it every day. The doll's hair kept growing, and the family finally couldn't ignore it any longer. They decided to take the doll to a nearby temple, Mannenji Temple in Hokkaido, hoping that the monks there could help Kikuko's spirit move on. The monks at Mannenji Temple were also curious about the doll, so they decided to keep it and take care of it. According to the monks, the doll's hair really kept growing, and they had to trim it every few months. Even more shockingly, they took the cut hair for testing and found that it was indeed human hair. When this result came out, the legend of the Okiku doll spread even further, and people's fear and curiosity about it only grew. After the doll was placed in the temple, many people came to see it. Some visitors said that when they looked at the doll, they felt an indescribable coldness, like an invisible force was staring at them. Others claimed that the doll's expression seemed to change at different times. Sometimes it looked gentle and peaceful, but other times it had a chilling, eerie smile. There was even a story of a young monk who was patrolling the temple late at night. Suddenly, he heard a faint sound of sobbing. He followed the sound and found that it was coming from the room where the Okiku doll was kept. When he opened the door, he saw the doll sitting there quietly, staring straight at him. At that moment, the monk felt as if his whole body had frozen in place. He was too terrified to move. The stories about the Okiku doll grew more and more over time. Some people believed that it was Kikuko's spirit attached to the doll, her love for her family turning into a haunting presence. Others believed that it could be explained scientifically as a special reaction of the doll's materials and the environment. But none of these explanations could completely erase people's doubts and fears. For Kikuko's family, the doll was more than just a toy. It was a way to hold on to their memories and longing for their lost loved one. It was this deep emotion that seemed to make the doll come alive in people's eyes. Anyone who looked at the doll would be drawn to its deep, mysterious eyes, as if it was silently telling them something. Even today, the Okiku doll is still kept at Mannenji Temple, and the monks continue to trim its hair regularly to keep it neat. Every year, many people come to see this legendary haunted doll, hoping to feel its mysterious power. Some say the doll's hair has now grown down to its waist, and its eyes have become even deeper, almost as if it has a soul of its own. There was once a ghost enthusiast who sneaked into the temple at night, hoping to witness the doll's mystery firsthand. He brought a camera, hoping to capture any strange events. But as he approached the doll, the camera suddenly stopped working and the screen filled with static. At that moment, he felt an icy chill creeping up from his feet, as if something cold had pierced through his body. He was so scared that he ran away and never spoke about that night again. The story of the Okiku doll is still talked about today, not just because of its mystery and fear, but because it shows how fragile and helpless people can be in the face of loss. For many, the doll represents a longing that cannot be let go, an expression of emotions made real. The hair that keeps growing seems to tell the story of those unfinished wishes and the feelings that cannot be forgotten.